Time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod, and this is your host, Josh, speaking. We got Iain back on the show. It's been a while since we had Iain on the show. Iain's from England, and he's called in to catch up with me about all the latest in the Star Wars world, the new film, comics, books, the game, the Mandalorian, just everything that's kind of been present to us fans. You can listen to us just chat about Star Wars. There's some interesting stuff that we kind of discuss and speculate on and all that. So, welcome back.
Another happy landing.
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, fine there, mate.
Awesome. How you doing?
Good, mate. And yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. It's been a while since we last spoke. It's thanks for jumping on. I know it's pretty late your time. It's like 11:30, right? So
Nah, it's all right, mate, to be fair. I haven't got anything on at the moment, so.
yeah. You're not working right now and stuff, right?
Nah, I've been furloughed. Yeah, so it's a bit boring at the moment.
Oh man, how are you coping with the time? Are you just like reading a lot of books, watching a lot of shows?
Yeah, just my girlfriend's giving me plenty of stuff to do, to be fair, so I've been running around the house.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fractured my elbow a while back, so that's the reason I got furloughed at work. Otherwise, I'd still be at work.
Oh jeez. Oh, that's terrible.
With the dog.
It's like doing the recovery. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like a ton of stuff in the Star Wars world to keep up with, but a lot to actually like catch up on. So, I don't know. Like, when was the last time we spoke? Was that about the book, or was that about something else?
I think it was before the Rise of Skywalker. To be fair, I think that was the last time we spoke.
Oh yeah. That was like, that was before the movie came out, right?
I think it was. I think it was a couple of weeks before.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. So it's been a couple months now. Yeah. So
yeah.
So how'd you like the movie? Because I know you're pretty stoked about it, but like, what was like when you saw it? Like, how was it compared to your expectations? I guess.
I don't think anything would live up to my expectations. To be fair, I don't think they could ever live up to that.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it for what it was. Do I think they could have done certain things better? Probably, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Yeah, I was entertained. I guess that's one word for me to put it. Yeah.
I think, to be honest though, like I think this entire trilogy, I've just kind of been a little disheartened with the fact that it's just not George's story anymore, right? Would, in an ideal world, like, I mean, I love George Lucas. I'm a big George Lucas fan, just like as far as his work with Star Wars goes. I mean, this whole thing came out of the guy's head, so knowing that it's been a missed opportunity to kind of get his take on these movies, to me is a little more upsetting than any nitpicky thing that I can think of. But that's just the way I feel about it. I don't know. I kind of felt like going into that movie with those thoughts, I kind of felt like walking out. I just felt like I watched a movie that tried to just dig out of a hole a little bit, but
tried to do too much.
Yeah. Like it tried to do too much all at once and very rushed. And I was very confused because like Avengers Endgame was 3 hours long, and that was kind of marketed as like the very last kind of thing to that phase, right? Yeah. And people love Avengers Endgame, right? Like people love that movie. And it's like, I just could not wrap my head around the fact that they didn't make a 3-hour Star Wars movie, because they marketed it as like the last Skywalker saga film. Yeah. And I was like, man, like this movie could have benefited so much just like by having that extra 25-30 minutes. And I don't know, like, did you get that feeling as well? Like I felt it was a little like cut together real quickly.
I think it was very, very fast paced.
Yeah.
It's very fast paced, and Yeah, I know what you're saying. It could have done with maybe being a bit longer and explaining a few things better.
Yeah,
because there is something.
Sure.
Look, and this sounds like we're like trashing him, but I really enjoyed the film. I did enjoy it, but there's certain things in it where it could have been better explained. Because the biggest thing for me is like Palpatine. It's just like, oh, he's back. It's like, yeah, but
yeah.
how is he back? And it's just like, oh yeah, the dark side's a pathway to many abilities. It's like, oh, that's from the prequels, yeah.
Yeah.
But doesn't explain anything.
It doesn't explain anything, no. And I love how they kind of like, they basically like left it up to viewers to be like, okay, read the expanded edition, right, of the film in the novel. And it's like, okay, so, we read the novel and it's like it unlocks a little bit more, but at the same time, it's like the mentality of like relying upon the books as as a source to kind of give relevance to stuff in the movie. That mentality then also should translate over to the other books that we've read as well, which I feel like watching some of these movies hasn't gone very well. Like the connection between some of the books and then the direction of these films has not lined up as well as their direct translation into the novelizations. But I feel like that level of canonicity is the exact same. Like I feel like if they can say, go read the book to get more about this, you should also be able to say, oh, read that book and you'll get more about that. But in a way, there's a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, there's certain things that the movie contradicting. Fair enough. Like things are going to get contradicted. Like I don't know how the story group keeps all this straight.
It's a lot to manage. Yeah,
I couldn't do it. I know that, but say with that though. Like I remember when Rogue One came out and I read Catalyst, and that was perfect.
That was
really
awesome.
Did.
That was really good.
That added a lot to Rogue One. I was so happy. I read that book before I saw the film.
Same here.
It added so much.
Yeah, same here. I actually made an effort to try and get through it all before the movie came out, and I'm not a very quick reader, so
not even I believe it or not.
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but yeah, I got through it, and I was so happy that I had actually read that book before seeing the film, because it was one of those experiences where I was like, oh man, I'm so happy I read the prelude to this. And going to like A New Dawn, like I did the same thing with that, where before Rebels came out, I read through A New Dawn, and also being the first canon book is a big deal, right? So I did that, and then when the show came out, it was like weirdly enough, there was a bit of a disconnect there as well with like the character relationship between Kanan and Hera, and then the character in general of Kanan. It was a lot more toned down for the show, being for kids, and then in the book he was more of this like, this like rough kind of guy.
I thought A New Dawn was quite dark, really.
Yeah.
In certain places it was.
Yeah, it was really not the brightest book. Count Vidian though was an awesome villain. I really wish we had actually. Yeah, I wish we got more kind of about that guy in other different types of media, but yeah, I don't know. That was pretty cool.
Some of the stuff he does in there is quite terrifying, really.
Yeah, it really is.
He's like beating people to death and throwing people in acid and stuff. He's like, bloody hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But so how did you like the Jedi Fallen Order game? Did you play through that at all, or? I'm
playing through it again now. Yeah, I love it. It's so good. Have you played through it?
Yeah, I played through it once, and it's actually quite hard. Like I had it on the toughest difficulty when I started out, just my ego got the better of me. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this, right? Yeah. And then I was like, nope, like no. Not even halfway through the game, I had to tone it down twice, and then eventually, I just got impatient, and I was like, yeah, I just got to get through the story, because I'm already seeing like tweets online that are like, like spoiling stuff. So I just turned it to story mode, and then I just bashed through the rest. And then
I had to turn to story mode to be, because on the first time I played through, I didn't collect a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the stims, so I only had like 4 when I tried to fight that guy on Dathomir. Yeah. The nightmare. Yeah. And I just could not kill him.
Yeah.
I had to knock him down to story mode. Like I was like, I can't. I must have died about 40 times. I was about to get ready to throw my Xbox out the window.
For me, it was the arena that he's in, where he has to fight like all the monsters that he's like, that you've kind of come across like on different planets and stuff, and they have that song playing in the background and all those people watching and stuff like that. That was the moment for me where I was constantly dying, and I was like, oh, I've just got to tone it down. So I cracked, and I switched it over to story mode. But I am replaying through the Battlefront 2 campaign right now. I'm trying to go back to those earlier kind of story moments where they set up like the Force Awakens a little bit, like through post Return of the Jedi material. And it's so weird, like going back to that and like, I mean, it's an awesome campaign, but like the story moments where like they have those red suited, what are those? Like the Sentinel devices.
Sentinels,
the Sentinel guys. Yeah, those. It just makes me wonder again. I'm like, man, they really never planned to bring him back, did they? Like they never planned to bring Palpatine back at all. When I watched that cutscene, it just kind of jogged my memory, and I was like, oh yeah, like, and I remember the Shattered Empire comic as well, which I got in my shelf. Like that's also, you know, it's the same thing. That whole contingency plan, the whole Aftermath book trilogy, all this stuff, and I'm like, man, like I almost feel bad. It almost has like no relevance anymore. Like, in a way, like it's just kind of been rendered a little, you know, the perspective is now completely different. But yeah, it's a great campaign. It's a great story. But yeah, that's kind of my latest endeavor. I'm going through that. I don't think I have the patience to get through Fallen Order again. So
no, they've just done an update for it, and then we can do a new game plus.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they've got Inquisitor. You can have dressed Cal as an Inquisitor now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the new update, the new free update is like, it looks pretty cool. They added have you tried that new mode that they added in?
No, I haven't tried it yet. I just started doing this playthrough when they announced it, so then I'm nearly finished. So I'm going to finish this one, and then eventually I'll get around to playing it again, probably.
yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I haven't talked about Clone Wars at all, like pretty much with anyone, because it's been a pretty recent thing, and then, you know, also like actually recently, like what I've been doing with a buddy of mine, like we've just been watching all the shows, all the episodes in chronological order, and then we've been doing like kind of like an after show, like Clone Wars talk on it. But we haven't obviously gotten to the last season yet, so I never planned on doing any episodes as they like came out, because I was like, oh well, I'll get there eventually. But I don't know, like, are you up for talking about Clone Wars? Or
totally, man.
Okay, all right, cool. So how did you like Clone Wars? Because I am completely blown away. Like it's so just insane, like to be brought back to that show again after years of thinking that we'd never get it.
Yeah, 100%. And just like, in a way, I think it's kind of a good thing that it got, no, not that it got cancelled, that's not a good thing, but in a way I like the fact that they had the gap, because you couldn't have made it look this good back then.
Mm-hmm.
It looked incredible. Like the animation is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was worth the wait, because I had a friend, I was watching the Siege of Mandalore with, like same with you, and we were discussing it on Twitter, and her name's Monica and that, and we were discussing it, and our heads just exploded every episode. It's like, what is going on? It's pure madness.
Oh, it's so theatrical. It's like, especially the last arc. The last arc is just like, when I saw that logo, like the Lucasfilm animation logo, man, like the biggest smile on my face. I was like, yes, this is so good. Like, I bet George Lucas is like smiling right now, like watching this episode. And they opened it with the main theme as well. Yeah. The first episode, I was like, "Oh my god, here we go! This is gonna, this is going to be." But there's so much in them episodes to unpack. It's pure. It is, yeah. It's genius. It's like it's a brilliant story arc, and you know, I feel like all of Dave. It's a film, really, isn't it? Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's like, it's so appropriate to finish. Like I was listening to Sam Witwer online. He was talking about it, and he actually refers to it as the last movie, and it's a good way to put it, because like they started the whole thing off with a movie, so like it's almost like, you know, there's no better way to finish off the Clone Wars than do something that's just really theatrical and up there, and just to see how far the show's come in terms of visuals and stuff like that from that very first season and that very first theatrical kind of, you know, format, I guess. Yeah. Did you go see that movie when it came out in the theater? No, when was that? 2008. It was 2008. I was about 18 then, and I wasn't really into Star Wars back then. When I was 18, I was in the army and that. Yeah.
So I only got into Clone Wars probably just as it was getting cancelled, to be fair.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I went back and watched them all. And then ever since then, I loved them. But I never saw I saw the film, years after it came out. Yeah.
See, for me, that was actually like what I did for my 13th birthday party. Is I went to I took my buddies and we went to the Clone Wars theatrical release. Like it was maybe out for like a week or two, maybe at that time or something like that. But yeah, like that was really cool. I only ever saw it once in the theater, but I didn't know at the time because at the time it was something you have to actually like find out through the internet. I didn't have TV. So like we weren't on cable or anything like that. So I wasn't aware of the fact that there was going to be a show like continuing after on Cartoon Network. And all I knew about was that like I'd owned the DVDs that was like the 2D the micro series. Yeah, so I had those and I was like, "Oh, this is like the newer kind of replacement of that." So I thought that was it. I thought like going into that movie that was going to be it. And then I was a little mixed because walking out, I was like, okay, who's this Ahsoka character? Like, why is she a Padawan to Anakin Skywalker? And like, what happened to all these other characters? And then like one of the friends of mine that's probably the least into Star Wars who went along with it, with us, he was like, oh, there's a show that's following up this film on Cartoon Network like in a month. And I was like, what? Like, really? Like, no way. Okay. Like, I hope I can watch this because we didn't have cable. And at the time it was on a local network station. It was on CTV. And then it changed over to be like a Cartoon Network exclusive. But, I was able to find it through various like sites and stuff like that, being able to stay on top of it. And then when I got like an iPod Touch or whatever, I was able to buy the seasons through iTunes, like got the seasons pass at the time. So I was able to do seasons 2 and 3. And then as I watched the show as they come out basically. And then, when that kind of, when it hit the end point of going to, season 5 or something like that, it was around the same time that I kind of graduated high school and I was on my way to college. And then, when I started in my program, I was like a couple months in, and then season 6, like we found out that it was just getting canceled. And I was so heartbroken. Like it was like, because recently Disney had just acquired the company, like not only a couple months before that, they'd like finished the paperwork or something. Like it was like really kind of a recent thing. It took place over the whole year of 2013. And it was just like the worst day ever. Cause like not only had they canceled 1313, the other Star Wars game, there's a bunch of stuff. They shut down LucasArts. A lot of people lost their jobs. And then the next thing I find out is that they're shutting down the Clone Wars. And I was like, what? Like, what is happening right now? And and then a couple months after that, we found out that they changed up episode 7 and they threw away George's outline. And, they changed that whole thing as well, which got delayed. So I was like, I was so scared. I was like, what is happening to Star Wars right now? Like it just got bought by the wrong company. Like, I don't know. I was super skeptical. And I never in my life thought that we would see the Clone Wars again. And then, you could tell that they were really trying to bring those stories to light with other forms of media. So like Dark Disciple, like you read Dark Disciple, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's great,
so one of my favorite Star Wars books. Yeah. And then there was like the Son of Dathomir comic, which was
it was great,
amazing. Yeah. I really wish that those episodes got finished as well. Yeah. So like there was enough that they'd kind of done, including the proxy animation episodes, which we got. And then season 6 got dumped on Netflix. And so like they were trying to get it out there, but I was like, man, like they can tell that so many fans like want the show back. I don't know why that they don't just, unless it's a license thing, like maybe their contract with Cartoon Network, kept going past the point of cancellation or something like that. Like, I really don't know if they had to wait for that to run out or what, but I was just so surprised that they just went ahead with Rebels. And I love Rebels, but it's a different, it's a different tier of entertainment. Like it's definitely like a slightly lower age group that's like it's designed for, because it was done on Disney XD, which is like I mean, even Cartoon Network has its limits. They had moments where they had to actually cut out, and then the full episodes are on Disney Plus now, and on the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were moments that they actually had to trim out, even on that channel. So definitely a different level of like storytelling. But those characters all great characters, but yeah, when they announced that the show was coming back, I was like filled with like the most excitement that I think I've ever felt since like 2013, like for Star Wars, that is, because I feel like too many things have kind of like gotten the better of me. But then that one announcement was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening right now. Like, this is what I've been wanting for 5-6 years now, 7 years, I guess, now that the finale's over. But yeah, it's just absolutely incredible.
The siege of Mandalore. Darth Maul is now one of my favorite characters because he's incredible in this now. Like, it's mad how he went from like a one-dimensional silent assassin, and now he's one of the most interesting characters in Star Wars. It really is. It's like Sam Witwer has all the credit in the world for bringing that character to life, because I know that what's his name, the guy who did the original voice.
Yeah, Peter Serafinowicz.
I know you're on me. I know you're talking about. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's one of the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's him.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, it's actually there's a funny interview online about him. It seems as if Star Wars is just not in the guy's favor at all. He had a bad experience like making his voiceovers with the Phantom Menace. And then I saw another clip that was recommended on the sidebar about how he actually did do voice recordings for Solo as well. And I was like, oh, really? Like, that's interesting, because what we got was Sam Witwer in the movie, right? And so I had no idea that this even was a thing. So I watched that, and it was like a 5-minute clip. But he basically explains how he actually did get casted for the Solo voiceovers, and then the very last moment, like even before I think it was after the premiere of the film, which he wasn't invited to, he found out by his agent or something without seeing the movie. He found out that they basically were like, oh, sorry, just for continuity's sake, we actually cut your lines and we went with the other guy that plays them in the animated shows. And all he had to say was just like, all right. And then he just never saw the movie. So I was like, oh man, poor guy, just like constantly getting wrecked by his involvement. But yeah, like it was really cool. Like I actually really liked his appearance in Solo. I feel like, that was one of my biggest things. I want to know what happens next. Like,
Kira's going to Dathomir to pick him up, like, and then the next time we see him, he's on Malachor. Yeah, exactly. Stranded. Yeah, something's happened there. And he says it's an interesting line in Rebels when I'm doing a Rebels rewatch at the moment. I'm on like series 3, and I've just watched the Twilight of the Apprentice. And he says, I can't defeat Vader alone, which is not something that Darth Maul would say because he's arrogant and that. So I think somewhere along the line that Maul has come face to face with Vader and it hasn't gone well.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. That'll be really interesting, because I know that there was a comic at one point. It was one of those like what if comics. It was like a expanded universe Legends kind of material, and it was a story about Vader just fighting Maul, and that was it. And it's got a lot of like fan favor behind it. Like, a lot of people really like it. And then there's also that story about Maul going up against Kenobi in the desert, and that one was super popular, because that one got, not only did the rebels like use that, I think, as inspiration, because that's exactly what happens, is like him and Kenobi go up to face in the desert, but his robotic legs, the design of those was recycled for the Clone Wars, like the Talon legs that he first gets. And I was blown away by that. I was like, wow, it's it's so true. Like, nothing ever gets unused at Lucasfilm.
No.
So it gives me hope that maybe we'll see some kind of unadapted ideas from like George's outline that maybe pop its way up into the series, because like the idea of like exploring the wheels of the Force and getting deeper kind of in that territory really intrigues me a lot.
Yeah, you're so right about things not getting thrown away, because his lightsaber in the Clone Wars, the other side of it is Asajj Ventress's lightsaber. Well, it's supposed to be Asajj Ventress's lightsaber.
Yeah.
So that's been recycled. I was watching Rebels the other day, and the ship, what's her name? That Ketsu Onyo?
Yeah.
That's Ventress's ship. It's supposed to be in the Clone Wars. So yeah, they always repurpose stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's called the Banshee, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they always repurpose stuff.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Yeah, nothing ever gets wasted. And then it's also like those visual source books or those concept art books or whatever, they're almost arguably like the most interesting thing that's come out of like Star Wars books, like, you know, visual books in recent history, because they have those like clues about those unproduced scripts. And I'm referring to two movies here. I'm referring to Duel of Fates and the George Lucas outline of Episode 7. Like it's fascinating just seeing those designs that are based on those unproduced stories, and thinking like, oh wow, like this could have been part of a movie that we never actually saw, and it's happened twice. So like it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's been quite the up and down at Lucasfilm over there, but yeah, like actually, yeah, that's the next thing I want to actually ask you about. How do you feel about the Duel of Fates story, and did you like get into that at all? Like, did you?
I read quite a lot about it. I'm very intrigued, to be honest, to see what it would have been like. There's some ideas in it that sound great, and it did sound. I liked they were going to go to Mortis.
I really liked that. Yeah. I loved how they go to Mortis, and there's a whole deeper kind of balance of the Force connection there with the Clone Wars. Yeah. I loved how they brought Coruscant back into the mix. And I loved that Luke Skywalker had this direct kind of more. It linked up with The Last Jedi like a lot better. I felt like just like some of those character plot moments that would have been there. You know, because like Luke says to Ben, is like, all right, see you around, kid, and then he disappears, and then he never sees him around. No. You know, unless it happened maybe in the year between the two movies, because I know they give it like a year buffer space, but yeah, it would have been cool to see him like haunting his nephew a little bit, trying to pull him back to the light. It felt very like Cade Skywalker to me, which was really cool because Ben Solo is basically that Cade Skywalker character in a way. Yeah, he's kind of a mix between like Cade Skywalker and like Jason Solo kind of thing. Like he's a bit of a inspiration's definitely been pulled from those two characters. So I felt like it was like such a cool thing to maybe do in the movie if they ever did have Luke Skywalker in there as a Force ghost, that, you know, he's helping show Rey the ropes, but then he's also trying to do the same to his nephew, which he's like, you know, trying to rope him back in kind of thing. That was really cool to me.
Yeah, the only thing that would have annoyed me in the Duel of Fates was that Palpatine was saying that his Sith Master was Tor Valum.
That annoyed me too. That annoyed me too a lot. Yeah, that's actually that's actually the one thing that really bothered me about that script. I feel like if there was that one thing, if that was changed, then it could have been like flawless. Like just the way that it lined up with all the other movies. If they changed Tor Valum, what was it? Tor Valor?
Tor Valum.
Tor Valum, yeah. If they changed Tor Valum to be just even something that was, I don't know, like maybe like a non-Sith character, but maybe something that was more like some sort of very dark side, kind of almost like an evil version of like the Church of the Force that we saw in Episode 7. Maybe something to mirror that, but
like the Acolytes of the Beyond.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe like a leader or something for the Acolytes of the Beyond, which we never really got a follow up of who those guys are. So
I love that part of Aftermath as well. They were really interested.
Yeah, I know. And you know what because I know that that they use those visual dictionaries to kind of connect the dots a little bit. They kind of retroactively connect some of those things, you know. Like it was the visual source book that basically said, hey, this is actually Mustafar, and you'd never be able to know that from the movie. You just like wouldn't be able to tell. But it's the source book that basically confirms like that information. So it would have been nice to know that the Sith Eternal had something to do with the Acolytes of the Beyond, right? Like it just feels, the connection feels appropriate, but at the same time, like there was no acknowledgement that the Acolytes were even like a previous existing story thread at all. So yeah, I don't know.
Apparently that Orchie of Bastoon.
Yeah, the Orchie guy. Yeah.
Apparently he was a member of the Acolytes Beyond, according to the visual dictionary that he said.
Oh, was he?
You wouldn't know. Apparently, I don't know if he was a member. It had something to do with the Acolytes of the Beyond. It is mentioned in the visual dictionary.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
But
okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
That's one thing as well about the Rise of Skywalker. They cast Jodie Comer as Rey's mum.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Jodie Comer is?
Okay, what else has she been in? Because I've seen her in something else, I think.
There's a massive show called Killing Eve in the UK.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, because
She's an amazing actress.
I looked up the cast, and she was on there, and yeah, I did look at her IMDb page, and yeah, she was a bit of a notable actress. But yeah, so I mean, if she had more screen time, that would have been cool. Yeah,
she's an amazing actress, and that's what I mean. I'm like you cast Jodie Comer as like Rey's mum, and she's like a massive star now. Like if she was, it is a bit weird. Like I don't know whether. Yeah, it's a bit strange that one because like I don't know if she's made many waves in the US like or like Canada and that, but she's a massive star in the UK, like Jodie Comer.
Huh.
That Killing Eve's a massive show over here. Like a lot of people watch Killing Eve.
Really? Okay,
I remember like watching it in the film. I'm like, I had to like double take. I was like, hang on, wait a minute, no, was that Jodie Comer? And then when I got out, I was like, I'm gonna check that, and it was Jodie Comer. I'm like, it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just looking it up now. Okay, do you watch this show?
I do watch Killing Eve, yeah, it's really good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it looks... So what's it about?
It's about it's like a Russian spy who falls in love with a woman named Eve, and then like she's trying to kill her, but then they thought it's very hard to get into.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good show. Like, I'd recommend watching it if you get a chance.
Huh. Yeah, that looks interesting. Yeah, no, I'm running out of things to watch. I just caught up with just finished Westworld, and I watched that Carnival Row show season 1. All pretty good shows. I'm trying to find something to bide the time when Mandalorian season 2 comes out, but yeah,
that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, happy to know that that's actually on track because like their plan is still to launch that in October, I think it was.
Yeah, I still think that might be brought forward, because they were saying they had the whole slate for Disney Plus, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier were supposed to come out in August, but apparently they've got like 3 weeks left of filming, but they can't do.
Oh man!
So get the post production on the Mandalorian and put that into, because apparently all the MCU shows line up with films.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier has something to do with Black Widow, and then WandaVision has something to do with.
Oh yeah, they got the whole in order.
So they have to bump everything.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's true. I wonder if it'll just be pushed to next year then.
Because they pushed every Marvel film back one. So Black Widow's was supposed to be May, but now it's in November. When Eternals is supposed to be, they've just pushed every single one back, like one slot.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll bring it out.
Scary. This whole virus thing is so freaky. Like just I mean not that I'm paranoid when I go to the grocery store, but it just scares me for like the media industry, like just I don't know. I'm like, man, if this continues, people aren't gonna have anything to watch anymore.
No.
It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling.
It's bad in this country as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have the second highest death toll in the world in this country, so it's not going great over here.
That's crazy. That's
another story.
Oh man. Well, there's a lot of people over there though, and I guess you're pretty fortunate to be kind of like you're out of the way a little bit, right? Like you're in the country kind of thing.
Yeah, I live in like a town. It's not like a city or
Yeah.
There is a lot of people in England compared. Like, we got 66 million people all crammed into an island. Like, so.
Yeah. How are you finding like trips to the grocery store and stuff? Are they still?
Yeah, fine. Now, when it first started, it was a nightmare. You couldn't buy anything. Like, we went once, me and my girlfriend, and we were like, what are we meant to buy here? Like, you had people buying 15 loaves of bread, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
that's people here with toilet paper. Yeah.
oh, that was the thing as well. Yeah, you couldn't buy any toilet paper.
Yeah, it's just
it was crazy.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Did you ever get?
It's gone back to normal now.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's good.
Well, pretty much normal. Yeah, they put limits on certain things. Like, you can't go in and buy every pack of baked beans in the shop. Like, because number one, I don't think people will let you, because I think people would riot.
Oh my goodness, I don't know. I mean, like that's just it, right? Like, a few overreact, and then other people just join the bandwagon because they're like, oh, more people are gonna come in, buy up this stuff, so let me buy a bunch of stuff just so I'm ahead, right? So it's kind of a snowball effect, and then you wind up with a lot of people that just don't get any of it. So
I didn't see any hand sanitizer in a supermarket for about, how long have we been on lockdown? We've been on lockdown for 8 weeks. We saw hand sanitizer for the first time the other day. We bought 2 bottles of it the other day. I haven't seen any of that since it started. It was just gone. You could not buy any of it.
We're only just getting sanitizers back into the store. I think they started showing up like 2 weeks ago. A little more easy to find at this point, but yeah, it doesn't help the price tag. Like, the price tag's always like a little higher than normally would be. Yeah, supply and demand. But yeah, I don't know. So how are you finding these rumors about all these characters showing up in Mandalorian season 2? Like, because there's a rumor that Boba's going to show up. There's a rumor that we're going to get Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Captain Rex, all these characters. Like, which ones do you think are actually likely to make it in there, and which ones do you think are just kind of like, you know?
I think Ahsoka's pretty much nailed on, because I read a quote from Rosario Dawson not long ago, and she basically, yeah. Like,
she confirmed it?
I mean, she didn't confirm it, but she basically said along the lines of, "Oh, I'll be all right when it's confirmed." So I can't remember the exact quote, but it basically said, yeah. Basically, like, without saying it, she said, "I'm playing Ahsoka," which I can't wait for. Like, a live action Ahsoka, like, it's going to be crazy. I saw some people saying about how, like, Ashley should play the character and that, but it's the same with anything. Like, Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness are Obi-Wan Kenobi, but for the animated shows, James Arnold Taylor is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's usually been a difference with the live action and the animated version, but I think Ahsoka, like, as far as her cameo in The Rise of Skywalker goes, because that was Ashley Eckstein. So I mean, like, audibly, she's been the character in the live action film. So I hope that there's no crazy inconsistency there with how Rosario kind of presents her voice as the character, if she does play the part. Like, I hope that it's not like a crazy different sounding Ahsoka that we've had before. But yeah, like, I mean, I'm definitely, like, I'm not like disappointed. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not like upset that Rosario Dawson is playing the character, because, like, she's an amazing actress. Like, just fantastic at all the stuff that she's done. Like, I was a big fan of hers, like, when she was doing the Marvel shows, because I watched all of that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, and she's done a lot more than that. But yeah, like, she's an awesome actress, and like, she's definitely got the look for the character. Like, she's
100%. Yeah, I've seen fans do like mock-ups.
Yeah. She's got the mock-up like down pat, right? As far as Ashley goes, like, she's done cosplay for Ahsoka Tano before, and like, she looks pretty good as the character. But I mean, like, as far as like how the character has been brought to life, like, it's always been Ashley, right? So like, I definitely want to say that, I don't know, like, I mean, I trust Dave Filoni with whatever's going on.
And like, Jon Favreau,
and Jon Favreau. Yeah, I trust those guys with whatever's happening. I was just surprised though when I heard about this, and then Ashley had all that to say about on her Instagram that you know, she's just been very thankful for all the fans that have been supporting her, and you know, she put it very nicely that she would be very happy to play the character again in any media form whatsoever, but you know, she doesn't know anything about any of this, right? So like, my theory is that either maybe like she has been somewhat kind of briefed about it and just can't talk about it, or it would just be really weird if Dave Filoni, because he's one of the guys in charge, knows Ashley and known her for years, like they're friends, right? Like it would be weird for me to know that this casting went on without her knowledge, if that makes any sense.
I can't. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening.
I can't see that.
I feel like Ashley would have maybe even been brought into the casting process. Yeah. If anything, because like she owns that character. Like she's been playing Ahsoka.
She's Ahsoka Tano,
yeah, she just is, and like even her daily life, like, you know, she like strives to be like this amazing public outreach person, right? And like she's always using Ahsoka as like an example character that, you know, someone that she herself wants to live up to in terms of you know, her standards and everything. And it's like, you know, she's such an amazing person, and it would really upset me if like they just cast somebody else and then never mentioned it to her, you know, like that would just kind of break my heart in a way, just for her, you know. Because I don't think that'll be the case. Yeah, I hope not. I know what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. And that's what makes me like doubt the rumor that she's in this show, because like I'm thinking to myself, it's like, okay, like if I believe this rumor, it also means that Ashley is also telling the truth about the fact that maybe she doesn't know anything about this. So so I'm in that regard, it kind of makes me a little self-defensive about her owning that character and should have the right to play her in live action. But yeah, it would just be a little strange, like if they never briefed her and stuff like that. But I mean, that's not to say that I'm against Rosario playing the character at all. It just means that I've just been a little kind of stranged out, I guess, like at all this commotion. Yeah. So. And
then there's Boba Fett.
Yeah, which we all love.
Same guy. Tamora Morrison, isn't it?
Tamora Morrison is the guy to do it. I mean, like he's like, he did the voice overs for the character through the original trilogy and those re-releases, right? Yeah. So I feel like he just is that older Fett guy, you know, like if you have to make any kind of clone appearance or like Fett appearance in terms of an older age, like he's just the guy, you know. If they were to make Boba Fett a younger man and like do a movie that's like around the time of Solo, because I know that I think even you, like, I think you tweeted this out about the fact that there was like two, wasn't there, like there was like the Josh Trank one and then the
Josh Trank one, and the James
Mangold, that's what it was. Yeah, so twice we almost had a Boba Fett film, and you know, twice we never got one. And I think both times, if those movies were to take place around like episode 3, 4, I think Daniel Logan is just the guy to go for, you know. He's just like he's just young Boba Fett. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think that appearance. Do you think that those spurs that showed up in season 1 of Mandalorian? Do you think that was
I do now.
Yeah.
I mean, like because the Hollywood Reporter reported about Tamora Morrison, so I'm pretty sure it's happening.
Yeah,
and because the thing is, like, them Spurs, it's Dave Filoni who's like, obviously it's Jon Favreau, but it's Dave Filoni as well who's running the Mandalorian, and he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't just say, he knows what them Spurs mean. He wouldn't just say, just put in a random thing. Yeah. Like, to me, I think, like, I was on the fence for a while because I thought, well, because it never got addressed in the show, did it? Like, they never.
No, it never did.
Got addressed.
Yeah.
And then people were like, is it Moff Gideon? That doesn't really make sense. Like, why would he be looking for a bounty hunter in the middle of?
There's no point.
Dune Sea and Tatooine. Yeah, to me, I'm pretty sure now it's Boba Fett coming to.
I'm pretty convinced about it. I mean, he didn't have the same stuff on exactly as how he had it on in Return of the Jedi, but at the same time, like the sound is so iconic.
Yeah,
and it's like that's the same Skywalker sound work that they're doing to make those spurs show up, and it's like, okay, like I'm on the Boba Fett train as soon as that episode came out. I didn't want to full on like believe it, but because he's gone, right? He's been gone for a while. But I mean, if they can go as far as bringing Palpatine back in the live action films, which, you know, I still think was like a really awkward decision, but like if they can go as far as doing that, like hands down, they can bring Boba Fett back for a show.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
100%. Like I think in Legends, he got put in the Sarlacc pit twice and escaped.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's not much of a
kind of
stretch,
like there's that Cobb Vanth character that we had in Aftermath. Do you
Yeah.
think that?
Well, I enjoyed it as well. I thought it was a good character. Yeah,
Yeah,
Like a
he was a
long
good
man on
character.
Tatooine,
He had like Boba's armor and everything like that. Do you think it's going to be one of those things where they just retcon that whole story thread, or are they going to like connect the dots in a way that maybe they acknowledge that character and he's maybe got his armor back from Cobb Vanth?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like sometimes I forget. Like people like us who read all the books with the minority.
Yeah.
Like
No
one knows who Cobb Vanth is. Like hardly. Like,
just us.
And I like the character. I think it's a really interesting character. Like from Aftermath, that was one of the interludes that really intrigued me. I was like, oh,
yeah,
Mandalorian armor and a sandcrawler that's covered in acid. I wonder what that could be like. It's got to be, but like, because someone was saying the other day, said, do you reckon he shows up in his like his armor from Return of the Jedi? It's like you can't have. I'm sorry, you can't bring him back and have him in like different armor. Then like people won't know who he is. Like it has to be
exactly.
Like, you can change
unless
it up a bit.
he's unless he's unmasked and doesn't have his armor anymore, right? Because I mean, we've seen we've seen the character. I'm totally on board with you with that, by the way. But yeah, we've seen the character multiple times, at least through the Clone Wars. He's gone through various visual iterations, which has been really cool because the last time that we saw him, before the show was canceled, we never got the arc that he takes down Cad Bane. Yeah, he does that little standoff there, and we never got that arc, unfortunately, because that's one of the arcs I really wanted to see. But the last time we actually saw him was he was wielding Jango's dual pistols, and he had this other kind of like Mandalorian variant mask on him. Yeah.
Black and red,
the red armor and stuff like that. It was on that Ventress bounty hunter crew arc that had the train heist, which was such a cool arc. I love that arc.
Yeah, even that young Dengar on it.
yeah, exactly. I love the okay, man. I brought this up with Diego, who's doing the Clone Wars episodes with me. I love that line that Bosk says when he walks
I know
past
what you're gonna say.
Yeah, he's like, "Shut up, Dengar."
Yeah, because he said, "What did he say?" He goes, "Oh, is that your girlfriend, Bosk, or something?"
Yeah. Hey, Bosk, you got a new girlfriend. So good. And they got Simon Pegg to play him, right? So I think
Pegg.
That's Simon Pegg. Yeah.
I never knew him, Simon Pegg. I never knew
that. Yeah, I think that was Simon Pegg. Hold on, let me just so I'm not giving you wrong information here. I'm pretty sure this is Simon Pegg.
Because that makes sense now. Because I remember they released like something on Twitter ages ago. It was like a big poster of everyone who's going to be in the Mandalorian season 2, and it said Simon Pegg as Dengar. I was like, oh, weird. I didn't realize he played him thingy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just looking up his IMDb page, and we all know he's on Car Plot, but yeah, he was the voice of Dengar. He also played Dengar in the Battlefront video game as well. So
I never knew that.
yeah. So he kind of owns that character at this point, I think. But because I think the original guy that played him is probably way too old to play Dengar now, or maybe he's not even around. I don't even know. I mean, like, it was a non-speaking like background role at the time, right? So I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, he kind of it would honestly, it would be kind of cool to see Simon Pegg as a live action Dengar. I kind of hope he shows up at some point. Like, that would be really awesome. Yeah.
I'd love to see all of them in the Mandalorian season 2. Bosk.
Yeah. Bosk. Dengar. Oh yeah.
Even like Zuckuss and Forlom.
Yeah.
Give me all the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters, but like back to Boba Fett. Yeah, like I'm like, because I've seen certain people like say, "Oh, I don't want this" and all that. It's like, like, this is the thing I don't get. Like, you don't know, like, because people are saying, "Oh, it's stupid." It's like, you don't know the context. Like, if it comes back and it's a stupid idea, I'll be the first one to say, "Oh, yeah, stupid."
Yeah.
But you don't know how he's coming back.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think people sometimes need to give things a chance before they completely tear it down and say, "Oh, this is stupid." Because these are the same people sometimes who like complain they want this character live action and that, but when they bring characters to live action, like, "Oh, I want like, why can't these characters stand on their own?" It's like, well, it'd be a bit pretty boring if like no characters ever turned up. And like Jedi Fallen Order is full of new characters, which I really enjoyed. Obviously, you have Vader at the end.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But like, if it makes sense, then give it a chance. Plus it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Like, if you're watching the Mandalorian documentary, they really do care, and they're they're not gonna bring Boba Fett in just for the crack. Like,
exactly. They and those exactly. And like, I don't know if you watched it before I kind of recommended those to you, but I'm glad you've seen those, because that's kind of like part of like I don't know. It's just good to have seen those, because that's exactly kind of what I'm getting at with like some of the stuff in the Mandalorians. Like, it's just so awesome to see the fact that these guys who made and run the show just know so much and appreciate so much about Star Wars in its entirety, and where they're coming from a mindset of a filmmaker, but also just as a fan. And like, they're not going to throw Boba Fett, such an important kind of fan appreciated character, into the Mandalorian for the crap of things. Like, they're definitely going to have a good reason for it. And like, you're right. Like, if there isn't a good reason for it, then
I'll be the first one to say, that was a stupid idea.
Like, exactly.
It's not going to be.
It's not going to be, if it's not going to be well paid off, then there's no point in having it. But I think like, they're the first people to understand that exactly. They're not doing it for, the show's already successful. They don't need to add Boba Fett in to make it more successful. So, because
I just saw a rumor before we started that apparently he's going to be not in Series 2 a lot, like barely, and then apparently he's going to be in it a lot more in Series 3. But then apparently they're developing a Boba Fett something. Which we've heard before. Like you said, there's been 2 movies that have been. Yeah. But apparently, I just read it before we came on, and apparently they're developing a new Boba Fett.
Interesting.
So I don't know whether it's a show, or I don't see it being a film. It's not going to be a film. It'll be a Disney Plus show if it is.
Yeah, I feel that way too, because the Kenobi movie got adapted to a series. Yeah. That's at least what Ewan McGregor revealed on an interview at one point. He said he did confirm the fact that it was supposed to be a film that then got translated into a series. But in a way, the series is almost, at least for a story like that, and for a character that we all love so much like that, going through that particular mentally tough time, right? Like, after the whole fight with Anakin, and the guy must have major PTSD right now. So like, it actually would be very cool to actually have more time with that character over a series of hours, whether it be like 6 to 8 hours kind of thing of episodes. And like that, I prefer something like that over a movie in that case.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that, because you can stretch it out. Like, obviously you don't stretch out to the point where you're just trying to fill it with stuff. Yeah. But like, I think Kenobi is going to be a more like intimate story, because like you say, he must be dealing with all sorts of. I can't remember when they said it's set. I don't know how long it's set after Revenge of the Sith.
It's like 6 to 7 years or something, I think.
Yeah. So he's been in the desert for a while. Yeah. And but yeah, he must be pretty down in the dumps. I've read some of the comics, because there's a few comics where they go in the main Star Wars run where they do the journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. And he's not in a good place there, to be honest. Like, he's finding it hard to. Yeah, he's finding it hard to cope. Tatooine's not the nicest place. Yeah. And like, when people have been suffering and that, he can't be what he is, which is a Jedi. He has to hide, otherwise he's going to bring attention to himself. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. Because we struggle with him kind of accepting the fact that he can't do anything about anyone's problems anymore. And even if he is trying to like protect Luke Skywalker and stuff like that, like, he's almost just drawing attention if he goes out of his way to cause trouble with So it'll be an interesting show, because I wonder how much of those. Well, I don't know exactly. Like, I can't really place it exactly with all the appearances that he's had through those journals, but. It was just a couple. Yeah, it would be interesting though if they did acknowledge some things in that show that I think people may be wanting answers to, because I know that there's that notable shift in design from Anakin's lightsaber from episode 3 to episode 4, which potentially they might be able to
explained that he was tinkering around with it or something like that. I don't know, but I was actually talking about this yesterday with a friend, like how all of the lightsabers over all the films that are like the Skywalker saber, like they've all got like minor differences about it, but the one that looks the most different is easily the episode 4 lightsaber, I think. And it's because of like the clear kind of bubble transparent part on the side, like the activation switch. That's like the only one that has that was the episode 4 one. All the other ones have some sort of like gold plating on the side, despite the various differences. Like it really is like the only one that's kind of got big things like that. So I wonder if maybe they'll acknowledge that as well, or if in the show that because it'll show up in the show. I wonder if it'll show up as the episode 3 saber or the episode 4, or if they take the continuity with what they've been going with the episode 7, 8, 9 look, which they adapted from 5 and 6. Like they kind of meshed those two a little bit and made one. I wonder if they'll just go with that one as well. So like there's like 3 options that they could go with, and it makes me wonder which one they're going to go. So
there's rumors about that show as well, that Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so cool. Like there's been talk that if they do bring him in, it's going to be like a flashback to the Clone Wars and like live action Clone Wars material, similar to what we had in The Mandalorian, where we see Din Djarin and on whatever place he's at, and there's like the whole separatist invasion going on, and I'm like, wow, that would be so cool. Like I haven't seen a B2 battle droid since the prequels, and it was awesome to see them there. Yeah, it was like insane to see them in live action again, like for all these years later, and to see Hayden Christensen in the Clone Wars armored costume that we got through the first 3 seasons, that would be probably one of the greatest things ever. Because I saw that cover that they did for the what was it, like it was the convention exclusive cover for Thrawn 2.
I was just about to say that.
And that was so awesome, dude. I was like, man, like I already own the book, but like it almost makes me want to like buy it online, like, you know, the exclusive one, people selling it for overpriced, but it's such a cool photo, like really, really cool, like just to get him on that, in that look. And then you know what, maybe even if they casted Ashley Eckstein as like a young Ahsoka, and then had Rosaria as the older, maybe have her even show up as well. Like that's a possibility, I guess. I don't know. Like, we'll see. I mean, what was that?
I would just be happy for Hayden to come back, because like I think I was too young when Revenge of the Sith come out. I was only about 14, so I wasn't really into the like fandom of that. But apparently he went through hell, like with some of the fans. Like I can imagine, because
I think he definitely knows the, you know, the darker side of the fandom, so to say.
So it'd be nice for him to come back, because I remember seeing him obviously I was watching the live stream when he came out on the stage for the 40th anniversary panel, and everyone loved him. It's like I think he's great as Anakin Skywalker. I've never ever had a problem with him.
I've never had a problem with him either. I mean, like that's anyone I talk to about kind of his portrayal of the character, like, you know, I always kind of give them the reasoning of like Anakin Skywalker is a really tough character to play, because like what we're looking at is supposedly the human part of this guy that we just know as a robotic dude. Like, you know, it's you know, you take like a man in a suit that most people would you know mistake for like a robot, and then just like make a human out of it, right? Like that is one of the hardest things I think ever in cinematic history as well, because he's one of the most iconic looking characters. And it's like, man, like Hayden had a lot under his belt. I mean, a lot more than Kelly Marie had when she played Rose, right? Because that's an original character. Like Hayden Christensen had such a task, and like, I mean, the guy was only like 20, I think, or 20, 21 or something. I don't know. He was something around there when he first started playing the character, and like I just always think like how stressful it would have been for the guy, and just how sorry I feel that, you know, that some of the fans gave him such a rough time about it, because I actually quite enjoy his portrayal. I think he's actually a great actor. He just needs the right direction, right? Like any other actor does. But yeah, his the way that he's kind of he's just been the character for so long now at this point that that there's no one else to play him.
No, you can't recast Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, you can't recast the live action Anakin Skywalker. I mean, like, they've gone as far as to use Matt Lanter to do his voice, which I very quickly kind of grew onto and adapted with as I watched the show when it first came out. But and he does a great job. Matt Lanter is awesome. But as far as like the live action kind of portrayal goes, like, I just there's nobody else that can just step into those shoes.
No.
Or mesh with Ewan McGregor that well either. Like Ewan and Hayden are just like, they're just the pair. So,
And I couldn't imagine, like, they wouldn't recast. They just wouldn't have him in the show. I think they wouldn't recast him, because everyone would be like, imagine like some guy, like, I'm Anakin Skywalker, you'd be like, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, huh?
But again, like, I mean, I'm glad that you saw those Disney Gallery episodes, because like that last 7 minutes of Dave Filoni just like schooling everybody on Duel of the Fates, like, man, like, that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen on Disney Plus so far. Aside from the Clone Wars, I was like, that's so good. Like, I love Dave Filoni. I could listen to Dave Filoni for hours, but just talk about Star Wars. But the guy just knows so much. Like, working with George Lucas for years, he just has so much like knowledge about that universe, and he's just got so much respect for everything. And I truly believe that, like, the future of Star Wars has, like, he's just one of those guys that, like, makes it super hopeful, as far as, like, people that could potentially take charge of things. And, like, we've already seen him step it up. Like, we've seen him go from, leading shows like Rebels and stuff like that to now, like, the overhead of animated television and stuff like that, right? Like, he's kind of making his way up the ranks. I know, like, a lot of people kind of speculate, like, oh, he's going to take over Lucasfilm one day. Like, honestly, like, if he ever gets to the point that he'd feel comfortable doing that, because he's quite the humble guy. Like, he'd never say it himself, but, like, I really do hope that maybe one day we get the chance to see him in the director's chair.
For a film,
for a film. And at the very least, like, I hope that he ever gets, like, that level of creative control, that he's able to just kind of steer Star Wars in his direction, and just kind of, like, I don't know, I feel like it would be the most authentic Star Wars feeling that I think anyone has ever had since the prequels and since Clone Wars. Like, the most kind of George inspired.
I definitely agree with that. Like, you can't do any wrong with me. Like, I think he's fantastic. Like, and he seems like a genuine, like, nice guy. He
really looks like. I mean, it would be so cool to chat with him, like, just like over dinner or whatever. Like, and he's such a normal guy too. Like, when he's talking about, like, when he first got the job, it just kind of, like, makes you think, it's like, oh wow, like, now he's like a celebrity amongst Star Wars fans nowadays, but, like, the guy's just a normal dude. Like, just like, so I don't know. But I don't know what else we got chatting about. Have you been reading any of the comics recently, the newer ones?
There's nothing out at the moment, is there? COVID.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like, we had a drought for about 6 weeks.
Yeah. No, what?
The last one I read was Darth Vader, I think I remember what it was. Number 2, number 3.
Oh, that's the new
one,
series between episode 4 and 5, right?
How's that going? Between 5 and 6.
Oh, sorry, 5 and 6. Yeah. How's that going? Is that going okay?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, the Charles Soule Darth Vader comic is, like, my favorite comic ever, because it was fantastic.
One of the greatest.
This new one's by Greg Pak, and it basically starts up just after Empire, like, literally just seconds after the Millennium Falcon gets away. And Vader storms off. Like, he even, like, snubs the Emperor. The Emperor, like, tries to call him, and he's just like, I'm not talking to you. And then he goes to Tatooine. He goes to the Lars homestead and tries to find out. He says he's going to punish everyone who's hidden Luke from me. he goes to the Lars homestead. He gets attacked by like pirates from Tatooine who think it's quite funny actually because they see this shuttle come in and they think, oh, it's just another soft Imperial. Now they go to attack this shuttle and they find out he probably picked the wrong shuttle to try and hijack. And then after that, he goes back to Coruscant. He goes to the apartment, Padme.
Oh yeah.
He goes in there and he finds he's got a droid with him. It looks a bit like the archive droids from the Jedi Temple. Obviously, It's not one of them. And they find a transmitter in the apartment that leads to another planet. They go to the other planet, and it's. Did you ever read Queen Shadow?
No, I never got around to that one, but it's on my list.
Yeah, Keira Knightley. You know the character Keira Knightley plays.
Yeah, Corday. Is it
Sabe?
Or Sabe? Yes.
Yeah. Basically, the whole thing of Queen Shadow is like she's Padme's double.
Yeah.
So Vader goes into this room like to find this person that they're finding, and then it's Sabe, and he's like, at first he thinks he's seen a ghost because it looks just like Padme, and then they find out it's Sabe. So they're at the moment, I can't remember, they've just left the planet they were on together, and then that was where the issue left out, and we're still waiting to see when the next one comes out.
Wow. Yeah.
I missed the Star Wars comics because they were like this little bit of new Star Wars every week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's almost. I mean, that's what made. I mean, growing up at least, and even when Rebels was on, I guess. But that's what made those shows so great. Like it was, it's not exactly a feature film or whatever, but like it's that's just it. Like it's Star Wars every week and something new.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is like
some of them have been great. Like speaking about Rebels, Kane and the Last Padawan comic.
Yeah, those have been
amazing. Like it's
awesome.
Such a good comic. Yeah.
I like those series that they just plan out to be like X amount of issues long and they don't try to continue making more. Like I feel like the Star Wars line got too long, like as far as volumes went. Like not that I didn't enjoy them. Like I've only read maybe like just under half of them as far as stories go. Like I'm not fully caught up with all those, but that's just because like there was too many, right? Whereas most of the miniseries, like I've bought and read them all, like, and you know, I've liked all of them, and I've been able to get like a complete story like right away kind of thing. So yeah, I've definitely been more in favor with those Charles Soule Darth Vader comic series that don't go longer than 4 volumes each.
Yeah, 25 issues I think it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really loving that format.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Because you try and stretch something for too long, then eventually you're gonna have to start filling it with stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But but other than that, I read they released the new Dr. Aphra issue on Star Wars Day. I read that. That's good. I like Aphra. Like the Dr. Aphra comics are weird, but in a good way. Yeah. They're really strange because there's just stuff in it. It's just absolutely mind-boggling, but it's good in a good way. Like like Star Wars could do with being a bit weirder. Yeah. She's a great character. I think that's just it too. Like Star Wars definitely could do with a bit weirder. Like I like it when they get weird. Like I like all the Clone Wars arcs where it just got out there and told like this super strange story. Like I love the Mortis arc. Like that's one of my favorite Clone Wars arcs, and I think it's because it's just so out there, but still within the context of Star Wars. You know, it's not like a random thing. But yeah, I love it when they do get experimental because it's kind of like it feels kind of in place with Star Wars. Like Star Wars is that kind of galaxy or that universe or whatever you want to call it, like that those kind of stories can be told, right? Like I don't think anyone, when they saw Empire Strikes Back for the first time, I don't think anyone thought what would happen in that little cave happen and what they did, right? Like it's this really obscure kind of thing, and you know, Star Wars has always been really good about doing that, like taking these things and like making them interesting. So have you read Aphra? I have read 2 volumes or 3. I think it's there's stuff in that that's just off the wall. Yeah, it's really like cool. Force sensitive fungus that thinks it's a Jedi, and you've got Dr. Evazon and Ponda Baba from A New Hope's in there. Yeah. There's a computer that thinks it's a Jedi and all that stuff. So that's a Disney Plus show that you could get on board with. Oh yeah, because there was a rumor going around a while about that they were going to do an animated Doctor Aphra show. Which
Yeah.
I like new characters, and she's interesting. Like the one thing she's interesting. Like she's not boring by any stretch of imagination, and she's got no morals.
Yeah.
She'll sell anyone out.
Yeah, I know.
That's like protect her. And the funny thing is, she keeps getting the best of Darth Vader as well. Like he's tried to kill her like 4 times. He just can't manage it, which is quite funny, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it almost. I don't like it when they diminish Darth Vader in terms of like the good guys are winning because like we all want Darth Vader to win in a way, but sort of. But also like not make him look like a weakling kind of thing, right? Like
she always gets out of it like from some underhanded way.
Yeah, in a way that's like reasonable. Yeah.
It's not like she beats Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel. Like
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. I think that's actually something that in Rebels they had to tread with very carefully. I think whenever Vader like showed up, like they never, and I think Dave was very aware of this too. Is like they never wanted to make the Rebels like all the time look like they were beating Darth Vader,
because they couldn't, because they can't.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they're always like either running or whatever. Like
it's like the same with the end of Fallen Order. It's like you swing your lightsaber at him and he's like, nah.
I think Fallen Order was perfect. Like the way that they kind of brought in Vader for that last thing, you genuinely feel scared for that character because we know that he doesn't show up past the point of this game, right? So it's like, oh, is this the moment where we die? I don't know, because like there's no Cal Kestis in the original trilogy, so or Rebels. So like, I mean, what happens to him, right? And I'm glad that the Respawn has finally officially come out and said this is the first game in a series. So so that's cool. So that's really cool. But yeah, like when that moment came, like of course I didn't know that at the time, like that they were planning on doing more. So I thought maybe this is it. Like the whole game, I'm thinking like this is the only one that's going to happen, maybe. I don't know, because knowing EA, they're not exactly the biggest fan of story-based games, right? So yeah, but man, like that game, so good. Like I couldn't recommend it higher. Like I was defending EA from everybody who was like questioning the fact that it was made by them, and I'm like, no, you got to try this game. Like it's a game changer, like literally.
And rightfully so, because if that's the one thing, if I could change, I wouldn't let them have exclusivity.
That's true. Yeah, that's annoying.
because I think it runs out in 2023. It'd be interesting to see what they do, because I've heard rumours that they're not overly happy with how EA have done it, because they've had the license since 2014 and they've only released 3 games.
Yeah.
2 of them, the first Battlefront was basic. The EA basically said, "Oh, we had to rush it out to get it out," and then they bungled the Battlefront 2. And don't get me wrong, after that they turned Battlefront 2 into an amazing game.
They did a full 180 on that one. Yeah, like it went from the least successful launch to like one of the most successful games.
I think that was more DICE though than EA.
That was definitely more DICE than EA. Yeah.
And then they've just said they're abandoning Battlefront 2 now, which is
sad.
Which I wouldn't mind if there was a Battlefront 3 coming, but apparently that's not the plan, to do a Battlefront 3.
Exactly. It's like, and it makes me think, it's like, what is the plan? Like, do they even have, aside from Respawn working on the Fallen Order sequels, like what's EA and DICE's plan to do with the Battlefront series or whatever?
It always gets to Battlefront 3, doesn't it? Because it was like that with the originals. It got to There was supposed to be this Battlefront 3 that looked amazing. I still remember watching the
leaked footage. Yeah,
it looked amazing, and then it just got cancelled. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's always Battlefront 3. We'll never get a Battlefront 3 at all.
Like, you could honestly make a book out of all the canceled Star Wars games that the world has seen, right? 13. Or never seen, I guess. But like there was even that mobile game that came out right when canon became like a thing.
Uprising.
There was Uprising. Yeah, Star Wars Uprising. It was canceled not only like a year after it launched. And the story and everything was canon. Like they've actually kept the consistency of the events in that game with the events like that happen in the books and stuff like that. So they used it as like a ground base, I think, for other things. But when the game got canceled, like there's no way that people can actually experience that story anymore. So it made me wonder. I'm like what the heck? Like, are they gonna adapt the story into a book or something like that? Like, I don't really know, but yeah, no, never saw the light of day. So it makes me wonder if they will retain rights at all for the first thing, but it makes me wonder if they're just gonna either divvy up the rights amongst different,
studios.
Yeah, that's what Lord of the Rings does. Like, Lord of the Rings is like an open kind of license that gets licensed out to different companies all the time, right? Like, there's that one game that's being made right now called Gollum, and it's not licensed by the same companies that worked with on the films, right? So visually, it's got to be a unique thing. So it's not going to use the same visual consistency as the films at all. And then same with the Lord of the Rings online game. It's a completely different thing as well. So there's all these different like mediums, and it's like Star Wars is one of those things where there's got to be a lot of consistency involved. So I can see why they licensed out just to one company, just so it would make it easier for like the story group maybe to like communicate with them. But they just haven't been like doing enough stuff. Like, they've just not been using it enough, and it's like, where's all the new Star Wars games? Like, well, in the last 7 years there's been like 3. So
to me, I could rattle off about 5 games I'd buy right this second. I'd buy a new like Star Wars pod racing game. It was like a racer.
Oh, totally, yeah. And they just relaunched the first one with online support and stuff like that. And I always say to people, I'm like, man, you know how much I would pay for a VR pod racing game? Like, like, I'd pay like $80 for that.
Yeah, I would pay for like another like Command and Conquer style game.
Oh yeah,
that'd be great.
Like Empire at War kind of thing. But
yeah, I used to love that game.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great game. And then like I could imagine like someone like CD Projekt Red doing an open world Star Wars game.
That would be amazing. Cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people gave a lot of respect to Galaxy or Star Wars Galaxies at the time.
Yeah, I never played that.
Yeah, that was kind of the predecessing MMO. And then came the Old Republic, which is also done by EA, I guess, but BioWare more so, yeah. But yeah, like it makes me wonder like what's going to happen, because Star Wars games have kind of been a big part of Star Wars history, and it's like recently it's kind of been the flop of the market. They've kind of been a little.
I've just been going on about Force Unleashed on Twitter for ages. I love those games as well. Yeah. I can't remember. Oh, it was LucasArts who made.
That was LucasArts, and was it somebody else? THQ maybe, or something.
There was someone like that involved.
Yeah, there was LucasArts and somebody else, but yeah, those games were awesome. Oh, that's another one that didn't get a third game, which was supposed to be, but got canceled. Was Force Unleashed 3? It never happened.
The second one bombed, didn't it?
The second one bombed a little bit, and also the creatives behind the third one like left the company or something like that. Like when they were trying to figure everything out, and then it just fell apart. But if you look it up online, like there's actually like places where those guys actually had talked about it, and they did kind of reveal some information about what the story would have been like. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed the story like of those games.
They had that Amy Hennig one who did Uncharted.
Which one?
There was a game announced ages ago. Like, you saw like little footage of it. It was on Tatooine, and there was like Star Destroyers above Tatooine. It was done by Amy Hennig, who does Uncharted, and then that just got.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the other one. The other one in not 1313, but the one that would have happened after that. That's the one that they canceled when Disney bought the company. They just killed off like everything when they bought the company. So
1313. I remember watching that trailer, and I was thinking, this looks amazing.
Yep.
And because it was supposed to be Boba Fett, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be Boba Fett, which also it kind of made me wonder. I was like, why didn't they use Daniel Logan to play the like Boba? Because I'm assuming that guy, the young guy that you see in the trailer, is Boba. Maybe. No,
he's not. Apparently, because I was reading up about this the other day. You were going to start as the young guy.
Okay.
And then eventually Boba Fett would kill that guy, and then you would become Boba Fett. That's how it was going to work.
Okay, that makes sense. Because
they're always talking about 1313 in Clone Wars. Everything that goes down on Coruscant happens on level 13.
Yeah, there's so many like homage paid. There's so much homage paid to 1313, and it really makes me wonder if anyone's ever going to pick that game up. Actually, I would love to see that game being finished by EA. That's a game that I think that if they didn't want to like make an original thing and they just wanted to like finish up that game, like apparently it still exists in digital code somewhere. Like it's got to be. It's not just deleted like that. Like probably all packaged up somewhere and it exists in the digital Lucas archives, I'm sure. But yeah, like it would be awesome to see that game like revived and kind of given new life as far as like bringing that game out comes. Like I really wish that they finished that.
Yeah, it looks so cool. Like that.
Awesome.
Remember that gameplay trailer that dropped? It looked amazing.
Yeah.
And that, like, it was cool to see like a Star Wars cover-based game. Like you had to use cover and use your blaster and that, because don't get me wrong, it's fun swinging a lightsaber around.
Yeah, I think that's actually what I really liked about Battlefront 2. Like the campaign was really interesting because we got a unique character that wasn't a Jedi that you played in a story that like took place around the main events, and it's like that's the kind of game that a lot of people want, and I think that's partially what that one game would have been like that you were talking about, that untitled game where they had pre-alpha footage that were shown on Tatooine with the guy walking out of the little hut. So yeah, that would have been really cool. But man, like you could honestly write a book of all the canceled Star Wars games. Like there's just so many.
Yeah.
Republic Commando was supposed to also get some sort of a sequel at one point as well.
Yeah, I tried playing that the other day and it was rough. Like I can't play it now. Like it's rough to play now. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's an old game. Yeah,
it's like it's rough with the graphics and that.
Yeah, it's kind of, honestly, I find older games like that hard to look at now that we have such high resolution screens. Like it's almost and then like your mouse is kind of like freaking out a little bit because like the display is stretched. And, so I know what you mean.
It's like one of my favorite games of all time is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Okay, yeah.
But I can't play it now because it's too rough. I can't do it. I love the game as well.
Yeah.
What I'd do for a remastered version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is I'd be willing to do anything.
Can you get the app? Has it been remastered as a digital app? Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I bought the app ages ago. It's basically just the PS2 version.
Oh, okay.
On your iPad.
Yeah.
Which is rough. I can't do it.
Rumor has it that the next one's supposed to incorporate all those games into like one, and then have like a giant like open world kind of Grand Theft Auto.
The next Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah. Apparently it's supposed to integrate like the worlds of San Andreas and Vice City and all these things, and then make like one.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's the thing I love about Rockstar games. They take their time. They release one game every 5 years. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is amazing.
Yeah.
And then they can afford to because the game sells.
Yeah, totally.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They can afford to take the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We got a bit off topic here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where we came from, but
talking about Star Wars games.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, did you see the live the live action child thing from Hot Toys or any of those like sideshow statues that they're making?
I've just seen the Captain Rex one, the Hot Toys one.
It looks awesome. Like they've done such a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to buy them, but unfortunately, I could never justify spending that kind of money.
Yeah. But you do have a few things on your list. Like we got the Black Series, like Boba Fett helmet coming out. Like you have some interest in that.
And the Black Series Revan lightsaber.
Yeah, the Revan lightsaber. We got some Lego sets, like the Razor Crest is coming out, which is pretty. They seem to
be pushing a lot of Revan merchandise.
Yeah.
Which is very intriguing.
Yeah, because like there was also the Black Series 6-inch figure for Revan that came out as well.
Which the fans voted for, They voted. Yeah. That was a fans voted for, and they were like, "Oh, who do you want?" And they were like, "Oh, well, Darth Revan."
Yeah, I forget who the other option was actually.
I can't remember, to be fair. It was like the first fan one they did, because I remember it was that one, and then Jaina Solo one year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Darth, like, it's very interesting because they've just brought the name Revan into canon with the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's very, very interesting to see like whether they'll do that, because I would love Darth Revan's an amazing character. Just his look, just his look sells merchandise.
He's so cool, and like they're having so much success with the Mandalorian. It's like it's such an appropriate kind of character to like introduce into the canonicity of things, being a character with such rich history with the Mandalorians, right? So yeah, like that would be really cool to see him pop up at some point.
I was just thinking, because they like I said, they did the lightsaber, they've done the figure. I wonder if they'll eventually do like a Black Series mask.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they will do that. Actually, that's a good question. But yeah, I remember that there was a season. I think it was season 3. It was in the Mortis arc. Like there was a plan to have him and Darth
Bane.
Was it Darth Bane? It was
Darth Bane. Yeah.
Yeah, like both of them like show up in that one episode where they talk to like the son, right?
Yeah.
But then like Dave Filoni and the featurette described why it was eventually like cut and changed. And in the end, like I definitely like see where he's coming from, and it's not the greatest idea to maybe have introduced them in that particular manner.
Yeah.
But I do think that the idea of bringing him back into canon is not abandoned. Like I think they're just waiting. Darth Bane ended up making it in by season 6, right?
Season 6, He confronts Yoda, and he.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And to have Mark Hamill played the voice for him too.
Yeah, I only found that out not long ago. I was like, Mark Hamill played the voice. I don't really keep up with these people who are playing the voices of these characters. But like that's another character. Like the books. Have you read the Darth Bane trilogy?
No, I haven't actually.
They are amazing. They're so good. Like they're really, like the thing is, like Star Wars Legends. A lot of it, like I don't want to get any like hate or anything, but a lot of it's all right.
Yeah.
But they're like the certain like the highlights of Star Wars Legends are like the Thrawn trilogy, the Darth Plagueis novel.
The Darth Plagueis novel is awesome. So good.
My favorite Star Wars book. I'll just listen to it again on an audio book. It takes like 14 hours.
So good, great. Man. Like it also like gives so much depth to the Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah,
100%. Like the whole what would you say? Like half the book or a quarter of the book or something just overlaps with the movie. Like it's a substantial amount of behind the scenes like events that kind of transpire, and it's like, wow, like this is so cool. Like I love it when that kind of material overlaps with the movies and you get a different perspective on the same movie that we've seen like 100 times over. It
answers a lot of questions like the prequels left.
It does.
Yeah.
I wish that they just canonized that book, because I know that it was published only like, I don't know, it was like 3 years before the whole Disney acquisition. Like it wasn't that long ago before Disney bought the company that book came out, and it just kind of broke my heart to know that it wasn't going to be, like official canon.
Yeah, it's canon to me.
It's canon to you. Yeah. Well, nothing, at least not that I can think of, like nothing currently contradicts that book.
No.
Like it's and also the Tarkin book drew off of that book a few like once or twice as well. Like there was,
because his droids in it, isn't it?
There was
114D, I think, his droid.
It was the droid. Yeah. So there was like, because it's written by the same guy, James Luceno. So like he definitely like, he saw his other works and he was like, hey, well, if this doesn't contradict anything, then I'm going to use it. And it's like, I love that mentality because it just kind of brings that book into the fold a little more.
I remember reading something, the Aftermath trilogy. You remember Mr. Bones, obviously the battle droid?
Yeah, Mr. Bones, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I remember Chuck Wendig wanted that to be HK-47.
Yeah, I do remember hearing
said, no, you can't do that. Yeah.
That's too bad.
And they were like, no, you can't do that. I was like, oh, okay. I'll make it like a battle droid, but yeah. That would have been cool, like HK-47. That would have been cool.
Yeah, HK-47 is another one of those droid characters that is like super popular in fandom. But
I remember reading the visual dictionary and I was like going over the Sith part, and it was like, oh, certain Sith troopers are named after like certain Sith legend like lords. I was like, all right, and then I was like, like Revan.
Yeah.
It was like Revan and Dedu, Tenebris. There's like Phobos and Desolace. But yeah, when I read like Revan, I was like, what? I was like, okay. Like, at least his name's canon.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Revan
and
is.
Darth Tenebris is from the Plagueis novel, isn't it?
He's Darth Plagueis' master.
Darth Plagueis' master, yeah. So, like, and did they call like a legion after? I forget. Was this in the visual dictionary?
It was in the visual dictionary, yeah. So, I'll just look it up there.
So that's another thing that they've now kind of confirmed, at least possibly, is that that Plagueis actually, exists, because so far, at least in canon, they've never confirmed his existence other than the fact that he's a legend, right? Which ironically enough is kind of the state of the book, which is Star Wars Legends. But yeah, like the fact that they actually like call like one of those Sith legions after him, like that's kind of a big one.
It says here that the split into companies of 5,000 soldiers, and they're given the name of an ancient Sith Lord. This is obviously a legion name. It says the history was hidden from the rest of the galaxy. Only the Sith Eternal cultists know the significance of these names.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Revan and Dedu, Tanis, Tenebris, Phobos, and Desolace.
It's crazy.
Cool to be honest.
Yeah, like that'd be awesome. And it makes me wonder that what they're going to do with the High Republic era as well. Like, what's your opinion on High Republic?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, like it's like when I was watching the trailer, it's very different to Legends, because one of the biggest things I always found with Legends, like Knights of the Old Republic takes place like 4,000 years before A New Hope, but yet the technology is the same.
Yeah,
everything's the same. It's just like like nothing's advanced like in them 4,000 years.
Yeah.
So because it looks a lot different. Obviously, apparently the Republic's going to be a lot smaller.
Yep.
Jedi are going to be on they've described it as like Texas Rangers when they were patrolling the frontier and all that type of stuff. It's only a really really interesting idea. Like it's 200 years, isn't it? 200 years before the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
not different. That far behind the Phantom Menace in a weird way. It's like okay, Yoda's about like 600 something, 700 years old maybe at this point.
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of surreal. It's like the prequel to the prequels.
Yeah. But like I said, all the authors involved in that are really good and that. But yeah, it looks really like the Jedi are totally different, like the robes are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, because people have said about the lightsabers that you've got like all different colours. I don't know whether that's like actually going to be in the story, whether that's just like cool concept art they're throwing out there. Because you've got like crazy lightsabers.
Yeah.
You've got one that looks like the dark saber. You've got one that looks like it's like pink and all that. I think they'll eventually settle it down and do certain colours. But yeah, it sounds really interesting. Obviously, there's going to be some big disaster that kicks it off, something to do with hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the villains called? The Nile.
Yeah.
The Nile are supposed to be the new villains, which I am happy that like it's not going to be like stormtroopers and that, like, or clone troopers and that. Like it'll be interesting to see like a different.
Yeah, it will be
villain.
A different kind of thing. I mean, I know that in the past, it hasn't gotten the best kind of feedback with things like the Yuuzhan Vong and stuff like that. I know like a lot of people weren't the biggest fans of that particular storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they've like I hope that this goes well, because I don't know, it almost feels to me it feels as if they're stepping, they're kind of like poking their foot in a new pool. And depending on how this kind of goes in terms of like fan response, is like we could very well be looking at the future of where the movies are going to be set up as well. Yeah,
because this is phase one. Like the books and the comics are phase one, apparently, and then it's going to
grow from there.
Move on.
Yeah,
be interesting to see how it goes. And that, like I said, if it becomes popular and that, then I can see it. Like maybe they'll start with like an animated show, then maybe they start with a Disney Plus show, and then eventually maybe they'll go, we'll make films out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm very excited to get something new. Like, this is the thing. As much as I love Darth Vader, as much as I love Luke Skywalker and all that stuff, like, if you do a story set between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, it doesn't matter how much danger they're in. We know that. They live.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so it'll be interesting to see, like, these new characters, and hopefully we fall in love with these characters, and then like there'll be genuine peril, like if they're in, like, because you don't know how it goes.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I'm in the same boat. Like I'm kind of like mentally, like I'm just kind of like done with wanting new story. Not that I'm, like I'm very much looking forward to like the Kenobi series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I'm just, the focus. I'm happy that we're just moving on. Because like I want Star Wars to be an expansive thing, and it's been 7 years now that Disney's had control, and we just haven't really had it grow that much. Like it's just been self-contained within the Skywalker saga. Yeah. So, and quite frankly, I think honestly, in my own opinion, like the most successful movies that they've done for me have been the spin-off movies.
Yeah, Rogue One. Rogue One's my favorite.
Rogue One, and I really like Solo as well. So like,
I really like The Force Awakens. I did. I remember coming out of The Force Awakens. I really did enjoy The Force Awakens. Last Jedi, and I'm on the fence for Last Jedi. Like I'm not in either camp, because you've got one camp that says it's the worst thing ever, and then you've got the other camp that says it's the best thing ever. To me, it's just it's all right. There's stuff in it. There's stuff in it I do like, and there's stuff in it I don't. But it's all right. And then The Rise of Skywalker, like we were saying earlier, it's good. I did enjoy it, and And like it makes it sound like I didn't. I did really enjoy it, but I can see where people can pick faults with it. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like if you like, I've got no problem with people who pick faults in things, as long as they're not like disrespectful or rude to people. Like I'm the first one to admit, like certain stuff in Star Wars doesn't make any sense. Like certain stuff, but to me, it'd just be nice to like go somewhere we haven't been.
Yeah, totally. And just to kind of like move on, like just move the fan base on from, because I know that this whole trilogy has been very divisive, and like, it's a completely subjective thing, but it would be nice if they could make something that, changes things up just in general, because, like maybe somewhere, maybe along the lines, like, there might be this kind of merging point between, fans that have disliked or liked some things in the past. Like, this could be like a new window for a more kind of, united kind of appreciation for what they're doing, I guess, in a way. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I
don't know. I get what you mean. Yeah. Cause there's three sides to it. I think there's people who just want to hate Star Wars for some reason.
There is.
You know what I mean, though? There's people who literally want nothing more than to go on Twitter and just try and pull everyone down.
Oh yeah.
And fair enough. Like I said, if you've got problems, then fair enough. Like you don't like it, but you don't have to go. Like I get so many times, like I've posted something, and someone comes on and says something. It's like, why? Like it's not like I came to you.
Yeah.
It's posted on your thing saying, "Oh, I link this." You've come on to mine. Like if you're just gonna come on and be disrespectful, I'm like, well, I haven't got time for it, because I just blocked out, so I'm just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I can have a constructive conversation with someone why they didn't like something, and if they're respectful in that, fair enough. Yeah. And like you said, there's stuff that I just don't tweet out stuff I didn't like, because what's the point? Number one, I'm not important enough. Who cares? Like, what I think.
Yeah, I know. I think that's just it, right? And I think I dealt with this for years after the prequels came out, because I'm like, I love the prequels so much.
So do I.
Yeah. And like I know you love those movies, and I think like most of the people that I've grown up with have loved those movies, but there's a whole different generation of fans that don't like those movies, and like I'm at the point now where I just like I get it, because I think I've gone through my own experience of like being a little disappointed with like some of the things that have come out in the Star Wars world, but like it doesn't. I don't ever kind of lose like. I don't lose my attitude like when I deal with those conversations, right? Like if I'm ever kind of, it's definitely not like I don't take it personally, like the whole kind of. Yeah, like if someone wants to hate on the prequels, then fine. It's not my problem.
It's like I knew this was going to happen the other day. My girlfriend bought me The Rise of Skywalker on Blu-ray. She bought me like a bottle of like gin or something, and I took a picture of it and posted it. I knew what was going to happen. I knew there's people going to come on and go. Yeah. Some of the responses were quite funny, actually. I remember one person put, "Oh, she can't love you very much." I was like, "That's quite funny." That made me laugh, to be fair. what was the other one as well? And then someone said, "Oh, she just bought you a bottle of gin." Then I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah." And don't get me wrong, I've got a sense of humour in that. Like, but I knew what would happen as soon as I posted it. I was like, I bet you some people are going to come on and like give me crap and all that type of stuff. I'm like, and like I said, I don't really care. I'm 28 years old.
Yeah.
I know I'm a big lad. I know what to do, but it's just like some people do. Like, and then like the fandom is mad though. Like I said, there's certain people I think who just want to hate things, and then there's certain people who think that people can do no right. Star Wars has done nothing wrong. And like, don't get me wrong, there's stuff that I haven't enjoyed, but I don't talk about it because, like I said, I was saying, like, number one, I'm not important enough. Like, who cares what I think? Like, I'm just a bloke from England. Like, who cares? And number two, why would I waste my time speaking about stuff that I didn't enjoy? There's no point.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
That's it, really.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know the feeling. But I don't know. I'm running a little short on time, man. But I better.
That's fine, man.
Let you go. But thanks so much, mate, for coming on and
no problem.
Chatting. It's been awesome to catch up with you after all these couple months. But we'll do it again at some point.
100%, mate.
Yeah.
It's been a great talking to you, mate. Nice to see you, mate.
Likewise.
Bye.
Talk to you later. All right, thanks, Iain, so much for coming back on the show. It's always great to have you. It's always great to just catch up with you, just hanging out. Honestly, like after the first 5-10 minutes, I just forget that we're recording, and you know, it's just nice to have a good chat once in a while with such a passionate Star Wars fan. And just as a friendly reminder to everybody out there listening, just to keep the Star Wars community a healthy place and not a toxic place. You know, don't be dragging people down on whether or not they like or hate something. I mean, I remember getting quite a bit of flack for years for liking the prequels, and now I feel like the tables have turned quite a bit, and now the sequels are kind of in the spotlight for being a very divisive thing. So whatever your opinion is on it, I'm not the biggest fan of these films, as most people knows, but as far as the direction of the trilogy goes, nothing against the films individually, but as a trilogy, I've got very kind of mixed feelings on it. And yet, some people love them. I mean, Iain loves The Force Awakens, and that's totally fine. And if you got an opinion on that, that is your opinion. That is absolutely fine. But people like me, people like Iain, who've got our thoughts on the matter. It's not fun for anyone to be just poked at by anybody who's got a different opinion. So just as a friendly reminder to build on top of what Iain was saying, just keep the Star Wars community a healthy place and not a toxic place. So if you're able to review the podcast, if you're able to rate it up, that would be super helpful, and share it with a friend. Always great to have you guys listening. Hope you guys are enjoying the Clone Wars Talk episodes and the series that we're going through. That's been fun to do. So we'll see you all next time, and may the Force be with you.